was never going to be a men's physique.
Didn't have much of an off season.
I like his physique better.
I'm always very energetic. I will have to put me as one of the greatest.
Mr. Olympia was won by the back.
Paul, how you doing, man? I've been waiting for this interview for a long time, man. You're a hard man to track.
Oh man, just always got so much on the go, right? So
Of course, man. It's a pleasure to meet you, on the video. Oh, there goes better, actually. I can see you better now.
perfect.
I was looking forward to this interview, man, because, you're a legend in bodybuilding, and you're one of those guys that just dominated, in your era. And then since then, it seems like you were focusing on building your business and your brand and your league, where you haven't been too vocal about a lot of things. So I was really looking forward to this interview.
Well, once I stepped away from the whole thing, I started focusing on building different business and starting a family. I have 2 little girls now. One is 10, one is 12. So bodybuilding kind of gets put on the back burner, once family life starts.
I hear it, man. I was always wondering, can you tell me why you got into bodybuilding originally, why you chose that sport, and kind of like how you got into it?
Man, you know what? I was just a big fan of wrestling. I was such a huge fan of wrestling, and I was a big fan of Tony Atlas, his former Mr. USA, and Rocky Johnson was actually Dwayne Johnson's dad.
Right.
I just loved how they looked, and I wanted my older brother to get involved in lifting weights because I wanted him to look like them,
Mm-hmm.
And he was a little too lazy to do it, so I said, "Screw it, I'm going to do it myself." So to be honest, man, that's really how I started, and I started at a little elementary school gym. Just after school, I'd going through the back and just going there for an hour for 6 months straight. And then I heard about the YMCA, that you can go and train at the YMCA. But I didn't have any money to train at the YMCA, so I'd kind of just jump the fence, sneak in, and just sneak down to the weight room. And it wasn't nothing special either. It was a tiny little room, no windows. It's in the basement. It smells. But you know what? As a kid, man, I was just so happy to be there. I trained, I think the first time I started lifting weights, man, I trained for 1 year straight, not even one day out. I was so in love with it. Yeah, I was crazy.
And that was in Canada, right? You're from Canada, right, Paul?
Yeah, originally from Canada, yeah.
Nice, interesting. So how was the bodybuilding scene in Canada at the time?
I didn't even know, because to be honest, I didn't know anything about bodybuilding. I just wanted to look like those guys. I was just in love with that. And once I've been training for 3-4 years, I end up going to a real gym. And I met a gentleman there by the name of Winston Robert, and he passed away now about 2 years ago, and he was involved with the IFBB, as a judge, running shows and stuff like that. And he told me that I had so much potential, that I could be one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time. And as a kid, I'm like, damn, that's cool. But I was more crazy about wrestling than I was bodybuilding back then. Some of the guys I met from wrestling was I don't know if you remember, this is before your time, in the British Bulldog.
Mm-hmm.
An animal, I ended up becoming friends with both those guys, so I was just such a huge wrestling fan. I just love all the big huge wrestlers with the big muscles. I just wanted to be like them.
Mm-hmm. Now you, do any bodybuilders inspire you when you were coming out? Which bodybuilders you looked up to? Oh,
you know what, man? once I got involved in the bodybuilding side of things, there were some guys that I just looked up to like they were gods. Mike Christian was one of those guys. I mean, man, I just thought the world of this guy. Gary Stratham, I loved Gary. I loved his shoulder. And people say, how did you get your shoulders that you have? But that's another thing. I would train shoulders. I love, you know, Albert Beckles, you know, love Tom Platt's legs. I truly admire those guys. I just thought they were like the greatest thing since sliced bread. I tell everyone the story. The first time I kind of met Mike Christian, like he didn't meet me, but I met him. And what I mean by is, he was guest posing at a show in Niagara Falls, New York, and me and a couple buddies went there, and I get to see Mike Christian, and I passed by him, and I made sure my hands touched him, you know. Mm-hmm. And for me, that was for me. I was like, I was saying, oh, I met Mike Christian, you know. And I went back to the gym on Monday, and I told the guys, I actually touched Mike Christian. Man, no one believed me, you know. That's just how crazy I was about these guys. It was just, I just admired them so much and think they were so incredible. And when I got the opportunity to, you know, move to California, and you know, I meet Mike, Gary, Barry DeMay, Lou Ferrigno, Arnold. Man, that was like a dream come true for me. I was in heaven.
Mm-hmm. What year you got your pro card?
1992 in Redondo Beach.
So talk about that era. You were competing in the 90s.
In the 90s and early 2000.
Right.
It was special. It really was. Like when I got to California, the bodybuilder that, you know, I loved all these guys I told you about, but the one bodybuilder who just blew my mind was the first time I saw Flex Wheeler at Aviation Park Auditorium in Redondo Beach at one of the Ironman. I had just moved to California. I think it was a week or two before, and they had the Ironman competition, and I saw him there, and he's wearing this kind of spandex top and bottom, and his shoulders just look so crazy, and his physique just looks so absolutely incredible. He just looks like a cartoon figure, you know. I mean, I was like, wow, this guy's, you know, I was like, man, I have to become friends with this guy, you know.
Right.
But yeah, it was just an amazing time, and the camaraderie that we had back then was just so amazing. Myself and Flex were roommates. Myself and Lee Priest became one of my best friends. Chris Cormier was like my little brother. We still keep in touch with each other. You had guys like Kevin Levrone that, man, Kevin just looked like a cyborg, man. The guy was just so absolutely incredible. And the thing about it is we're all friends. We're all friends, even though we want to beat each other, and, you know, we would still hang out with each other, go out and have lunch, have dinner. You know, Sean Ray, you know, we talk about guys who I looked up to. I actually looked up to Sean Ray because he was a pro before all of us. He became pro at such a young age. And I mean, every single bodybuilder, I think, from in the 90s, if they say they didn't admire Sean Ray, they'd be a liar, because we all admired Sean. We just thought Sean was so incredible. His condition is second to none. You know, he had the cars, the house. I mean, the magazine covers, you know, speaks very well, man. You know, so to be able to hang out with all these guys for a kid coming from Canada, you know, in the 90s, it was just amazing. Like I said, it's just the friendship that we all had. You know, like we'd all go down to Orange County, go meet up with Sean, go play pool, go to movies. Guys today don't do that. Like, you know, I think the guys today, I think they're great. I think they're incredible. But I think what we had that they didn't have is just the camaraderie, the friendship that we had. I don't see that today.
How was it competing against Dorian Yates? Because you went up against him a few times.
Man, the shadow was amazing. Dorian is incredible, and Dorian's just a good guy also. You know, quiet. You know, only talk when you have to, when you have something to say. You know, So you could not like D. D was just a good guy. I went over to the UK, hanging out with him for a bit, you know. I think we all had mutual respect for each other back then, you know, even though we talked a lot of shit, you know, but that's just a part of the game, right? We talk shit about each other, but not in a disrespectful way. We talk shit because we all want to win. At the end of the day, the chips are going to fall where they may, but we all want to win. So we all think we're better than the next guy, but we never disrespect each other, and we always knew how good the next guy were, and we knew that on any given day, either one of us could have beat each other, you know, and it happened, you know, like even when we go on the European tour, you know, today this guy's win, today that guy win, this guy's second, this guy, you know, but competing against Dorian, it was good. It was nice.
Now your physique was special, I thought. You know, looking back at your pictures and videos, it was definitely you know, it was massive, it was impressive, and it was just like, it was very different. It definitely stood out. And I feel like the fact that you're also tall, you know, you're 6'1" from what I understand, right?
Actually, you know, when I competed, I said I was 6'1", but I'm more like 6'3", you know?
Oh wow.
Yeah, because I didn't want anyone to know I was that tall. So I downplayed my height, you know? Actually,
that's great.
Yeah, actually.
Was you being tall, was it a gift or a curse? Because sometimes for taller guys, it's harder to gain that mass, you know what I'm saying? So,
you know, it's kind of hard to say, right? I mean, I had no problem putting on size. I could put on size very easily. You know, there are guys that was 5-6 inches taller than I was, but they still, I mean, I had a 32-inch thighs, right? I mean, 22-inch calves. A lot of measurements people don't know about me. It's like, but a lot of the guys who knew me would tell you, yeah, Dillett had a 29-inch waist, you know?
how big are your biceps?
Bicep legitimately off season 24, contest or 23, and that's, you know, that's, again, you gotta I have the length in the arm to get that size. It's not possible for a guy at 5'7", 5'6" to have a 23-inch arms. So they say they do, but they don't. You know, I had those size arms just because I had long, even though it didn't look, but I had, you know, being so tall, I had long arms. So in shape, they're 23 inches, and just having such a small waist. You know, Wayne D'Amelio said, 1 year we were in Paris, and I had no posing trunks, and because lost my luggage, and he says, okay, we got to get you some posing trunks. The show starts in like within an hour or two. So he says, okay, what size trunks do you need? And I said, small. He goes, what? I say, yeah, small. You know, if you ever ask him, he'll tell you the story. He said, yeah, they were blown away. Dillett, that's the size trunk I wore. It was a small.
Now, I heard from a lot of guys, you know, from.
Exactly.
What was that?
Your voice is breaking up.
Okay. It's probably the connection. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, better.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
I heard from a lot of guys in Cali, you know, that you were genetically blessed and that you didn't have to train as hard as the rest of them. Is that true, or is that exaggerated?
I think Charles Glass was he could speak on that for me. You know, I think people start the narrative, you know, of, oh, he was a lazy trainer, he was enough. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm the guy who got up at 6 a.m. in the morning to go do cardio. You know, I'm the guy who do another hour of cardio at 8:30 at night. I train twice a day. And people say he didn't lift heavy, but I'm like, you show me how many guys can do 305, you know, behind the neck press for 10, 15 reps. I did that. You know, so you know these guys that say, oh, he didn't lift. I used to curl 225 pounds for reps. You know, so. People start this narrative of, oh, he didn't train hard, he was lazy, and you're like, I don't know, what do you call lazy? I go in the gym, myself, Chris, we all had the trainer. sometimes you train all of us together. We all put in the same amount of time. We all put in the same intensity, you know. So you know how things operate. People start one narrative of, oh, he didn't train hard. He was a lazy trainer. I'm like, genetics or no genetics, you gotta look like you know, Chris Pomeric, you can all say, hey, what all of it did. He came in, he bust his ass, and he go about his business. It is what it is. Was he genetically gifted? Absolutely, because how many guys, you look at the size of my legs, and you look at the balance that it has. You know, no one could say Dillett had no hamstrings. You know, no one could say he didn't have huge calves. You know, people say, oh yeah, he would. Well, he could have beaten this one, but he lost when he turned to the back. And I'm like, nobody's perfect. No one is perfect. I beat just about every guy from the front. I beat them from the side. And when they to the back, well, they beat me in the back double bicep, not in the back lat spread. So there's 7 poses. And if they beat me in 1, then I beat you in 6. If they beat me in 2, I still beat you in 5, you know? But for me, it is what it is. I trained myself. I enjoyed what I did. I loved the era that I was in. And I loved all the guys that I competed with. I think they were all amazing competitors. I thought they were incredible. You know, the late Nasser Al-Sambadi, incredible physique. You know, Matarazzo, another good buddy of mine, you know, that it's gone. So that's sad, you know, but I love my era. And I love the era before my era, with the Mike Christian and the Lee Haney's and the Barry DeMay and the Gary Stratham. I mean, so many incredible guys that people don't even know about, you know? Oh my God, Terry Pastel, you know, Francis Benfato. These guys were absolutely incredible. Bob Paris, man, bodybuilding was just, it was really the glory age. You know, people used to come to Gold's Gym by the busloads. There'd be busloads of people that come in. All the other guys will tell you during the week, you know, the bus will pull up in front of Gold's Gym, and a busload of people just come out to Gold's Gym to see us, you know? So, man, what a glorious time that was.
No, I agree with you, man. Can you hear me, Paul?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Right. Now, did you have issues with the judges back then? Because I saw a video of you saying that, you know, you deserve better placing. You know, you deserve to beat this guy or that guy. Did you have it in with them? Did you have some kind of issues with them at the time where you disagreed?
You know, I think every athlete, you know, have an issue with the judges once they don't win or place as well as they think they should have placed. I think we had great judges. I think there were good judges. They had a difficult job to do, with so many incredible physiques on stage. You know, I mean, it's easy to, you know, to go this way or go that way. I don't want to disrespect anything of my fellow competitors. How they did it. They're all incredible. Like I said, we all want to win. But I mean, is there a certain time that you feel that, you know, it could have gone this way or that way, and you know, of course you feel a little hostile about it, or some hostility about, you know, you're like, you know what, today I felt like I should have had this one today. You know, there was one Ironman that myself and Flex competed in, and you know, he called me the next day just to say, you know, man, I hope you're not mad at me, but you looked good. You know, he was first, I was second, and I told him, I'm not mad at you. You know, it is what it is. He's my friend, and the judges thought he deserved to win, and so be it. You know, I mean, he's such an incredible competitor and such a fierce competitor. And, you know, do I think I had him on that day? Yes, I did, but the judges felt different. So it is what it is, right?
No, of course. But, I mean, you've placed really great. I mean, you were top 3 multiple times at the Arnold, right? At the Olympia.
Yeah, Arnold, Olympia, you know, winner of the Night Champion, won a bunch of a lot of the European Grand Prix. So, I mean, there are guys who, you know, who didn't place as well, who I thought were great, like Aaron Baker. Aaron Baker is, wow, I mean, you could just go on. We could just keep going on and on about guys from in the 90s. That was just so incredible, you know. Aaron is one of those guys. I'm sure he placed in places where he felt like, wow, I could have done better. I should have done better, you know. So it is what it is.
Is it true that you had an incident somewhere where you didn't want to accept the prize and you walked up the stage? I think it was somewhere. Was it UK?
Oh, Russia. It was in Russia. Yeah, it was in Russia. It was in Russia one year, and I mean, I just went off. It's funny now when I look back at it, but I just went off right there on stage. I gave them the middle finger, tell them, "Fuck you," and it's just, I can't lie. That one, all the others, man, it is what it is. But that one, that was some bull. That was some major.
What happened? You thought you deserved to win?
Man, I think every guy on that stage that night knew Dillett had this one in the bag. You know, most guys will tell you, for some reason on the tour, I always get better and better. When most guys are slipping, I'm getting better. You know, and that was one that I felt that one was, I should have had it. You know, it was truly bullshit. There's no other way to call that particular event other than bullshit, and I let them know, "Fuck you." And everyone says, "Oh, this is the Russian mob. You're doing the show. You can't say that." And man, I said, "Fuck you. I can say whatever the fuck I want." You know, so I just tell them, "Get out of here. I don't need it." You know, and it was crazy because after all that, then at the end of the show, everybody still comes, wanting to take their pictures with Paul Dillett. You know, I mean, man, I remember I was just talking to Chris Comier 3 weeks ago, and he was reminding me of a show we went to in Mexico City where I went to guest pose, and I brought Chris with me. I used to always bring Chris to a lot of places with me because, like I said, he was like my little brother. And he's like, remember the time when you guest posed in Mexico and the theater was so packed, and when I walked out on stage and started posing, the audience just rushed the stage. He's like, man, you were like Michael Jackson on stage that night. It was one of those stages that the floor sunk down. They had to sunk the floor down and rush me in the back, lock me in a room just to keep all the fans away. You know, we had some crazy times back in the 90s, man. Like, I mean, going to Italy and, people line the sidewalk for when the bus comes and just chasing the bus down the street. Wow. Man, that shit don't happen today. That don't happen today. Bodybuilding was just, man, I wish people could have seen what bodybuilding was in the 90s. When we go to FIBO in Germany, and you look out and we're guest posing and there's like 5,000 people just in awe. They just come to see the bodybuilders, I mean, we would sign autograph till our fingers are swollen.
That's crazy. So I saw a footage of you online saying that when you used to be a bodybuilder, you made 6 figures a year or more. Today, guys, they don't make as much. So what happened to bodybuilding? Why now they have social media, they have more outlets that I'm sure maybe you had back in the day, right? So what happened?
I think social media is a double-edged sword, Damn if you do, damn if you don't. I think because the fans back in the day was so diehard. They were so diehard fans that they never get to see you. They never get to see you. The only time they saw you was when you come to their city, when you come to their country. That they
paid to see you, basically, right?
Yeah, it puts you on another level. They couldn't talk to you. The only time they could see, is just read about you in a magazine. So you're like a myth, You were very mythical. Where today, they can 2 seconds they can talk to their favorite bodybuilder, right? Send a message back and forth, boom, 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 and it's great. But even though it's so great, does it take away that mystique that you can meet that person at any time you want? So I just don't feel they have that connection, that kind of, I have to see him, I have to meet him, just want to get his autograph. And people bought anything and everything we had, I went to FIBO and I would bring, I had these t-shirts that said, "Welcome to my nightmare." I'd go to Germany with 200 of those. And I'm sitting down signing autograph. And you could buy the t-shirt sitting on the table for about, I think it was like 40 at the time it was the Deutschmark. You could buy for 40 Deutschmark. Or I would have on one t-shirt, and that t-shirt that I'm sitting there sweating in is the one everybody would want.
Wow.
So then if they want it, I would, they want you to stand up, take it off so they can see your physique. So if you want me to get up and stand up and sell you the shirt off my back, hey, listen, it's $100. Next guy says, I'll give you $150. Next guy says, I'll give you $200. So yeah, these sweaty t-shirt, you're selling for $200-$300 because that's the one, that's the one everybody wants. So it shows just how special we were in that era. And it's not to say these guys today aren't special, because I think these guys are amazing. I'm blown away by Kai Greene, Phil Heath, and all these guys. These guys are absolutely amazing.
And some of the new guys, they are making money. I don't want to discredit them. You know what I'm saying? That's something you said in an interview. You said something like, that now they're not making as much, because back then it was more special. Which I understand. I mean, some guys do make money, I believe, right? Once they have big.
Expose a lot. I mean, there's no guest posing anymore, right? I don't even know if there is, but I mean, I pick and choose which show I wanted to guest pose for, who I wanted to guest pose for, what country I wanted to be in, where it's not like that today. Because, well, number one, I tell people bodybuilding is dead. Bodybuilding.
That's a strong statement.
Bodybuilding is not what it used to be. I mean, man, I could have guest posed every single month of the year, 4 times a week. I'd go to Germany. Myself and Vince Taylor would go to Germany, and we would guest pose Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And on Saturday, you do 2 guest posing. You go from one location to another. You do 1 Friday night, you do 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we had a guy that would set up these appearances for us to go pose in these nightclubs. These guys were paying us like $2,500 a night. It was crazy. That just don't happen today. That don't happen. Man,
and why do you think that is? Why do you think it declined to such a level where it's
just because bodybuilding is nowhere near as popular as it used to be. It's nowhere near as popular. I think guys have to become more creative now. I guess they can, because they have the tool that we didn't have, which is social media, so they can sell merchandise through social media. And, that's if they have that entrepreneurial spirit, to say, I'm not going to spend 24/7 in the gym. I have to dedicate a certain amount of time to the gym, but I also have to dedicate a certain amount of time towards building a business. I think if they do, then they can do better. They might be able to do better than we did, because we made our money strictly off our bodies, not really selling merchandising.
Sure. Do you think Olympia title still means a lot in bodybuilding?
No, I don't think the Olympia title means what it used to mean. No chance. I mean, man, you look at the Olympia before and look at the Olympia now. It's not the same thing. It's just not the same thing. I mean, I feel like it's been watered down. There was one Mr. Olympia. That's it. If you want to try again next year, you go and try again. If you get invited, you get invited. You have to qualify to get there. And there was 10 men or 12 men on that stage. And those 10, 12 men could draw 5,000, 6,000 people into an audience, I mean, that's crazy. We didn't need an expo. We didn't need bikini girls. We didn't need guys come out in shorts down to their knees. I'm sorry, that's laughable to me.
You don't like men's physique, I assume?
I think a lot of those guys have great physique. They really do. They have great upper body physiques, But I can't call you Mr. Olympia when you come out in shorts down to your knee, because the biggest muscle on the body is the legs. So let the guys, they don't have to have legs like a bodybuilder, but they got to have legs. I mean, back in the day, we would laugh at guys and call them a prisoner physique, because in prison guys only train upper body, they didn't train legs. So it's the same thing. I mean, I tell people, I said, when I was competing, I'd have nightmares about going out on stage in my pants, you know? I'm like, that shit. So, I mean, no, Mr. Olympia should be Mr. Olympia. It shouldn't be watered down with this, that, or that, and not taking anything away from these kids who have these amazing physique, which, look, that's the way things are trending now, you know? These guys are so incredible, so popular. They're popular than most bodybuilders, you know? Sure. So they do have incredible physique, but I feel like they should have had their own title that identifies them and their era, you know, and leave Mr. Olympia as bodybuilding. This is bodybuilding. So there's no confusion about a guy says, well, I'm Mr. Olympia. He says, well, I'm Mr. Olympia. Well, I'm the real Mr. You know, he has it. He's like, well, I'm the men's physique Mr. Olympia. There's so many different titles for Mr. Olympia now. There's only one NBA title. You know, there's only one, you know, it's got one title. That's it. One man gets it, and that's it. And he's the most famous bodybuilder in the world for that year. Men's physique should have their own title that they build a reputation with. Like I said, don't take anything away from them. These guys have some incredible physique. I'm blown away by the physique that I see on some of these guys.
Now, your physique was incredible, like I mentioned. You know, you were so dominant on the stage. It was next level, you know, and you came very close. You were top 3. Do you have regrets of not being crowned as Mr. Olympia? Did you ever have that regrets after you stopped competing?
Well, I think that's myself and every other bodybuilder who never won that title. We all wanted to win that title. That's the goal, right? It's to be the best bodybuilder alive. And I mean, if you never get the title, then, you know, of course it's going to leave that feeling of, man, so close yet so far, you know. It doesn't matter if you were second, third, fourth, or fifth. It don't matter, you know. If you didn't win the title, that's it. That's what we all want. We want that title. But for me, it was just an honor to be able to step on that stage with such incredible warriors. These guys were true warriors, man. I mean, we went out there, we went to battle. And for me to be able to be a part of that, I'm proud of that. I'm happy. There's so many guys who never get that opportunity. So for me to get that opportunity, no, I'm happy. I'm grateful. And not winning the title, absolutely. Everyone, like I said, everyone would have loved to win the title. But, you know, I think you can be just as successful, you know, being one of the best. You know, it doesn't, not because you weren't the best, it doesn't mean you can't be just as successful or even more successful off stage.
Absolutely. Now, Paul, can you clarify something? Like, what actually happened to you at the end of your bodybuilding career? Because I heard different rumors. You know, I heard there was some kind of deportation happened, or some kind of like incident happened. Like, what actually happened to you? What made you retire? And like, can you clarify that? Because I heard rumors, but I don't actually know.
Well, I mean, everybody retires. You know, at some point or another, we all have to retire. I think towards the end, I just didn't have that passion anymore. I didn't have that drive to want to go to the gym every day. You know, I find myself just making up excuses in my head to, you know, to not go to the gym. And you start getting older, and you know, you start having injuries, little injuries here, little nagging injuries there. Man, honestly, you just, after doing it from you're a 17-year-old kid, you lose in anything and everything in life has an expiry date. Yeah, you know, my time had come, and it was time for me to walk away. I made a little comeback, and the only reason I made a comeback was because Muscle Tech paid me a lot of money to do it. So, you know, it was a business decision to come back. It was great for me. It was good for them, but I walk away because it was time for me to walk away. I wasn't in love with it anymore. the guys who were coming up, like Dexter Jackson and so on, they were all, snipping at the heels of, old guys like myself. And it was time to step aside and let these young guys, take their rightful place.
I understand. Now, after you retired, you started your own federation, correct? WBFF, correct? That's your federation.
Yeah.
Tell me about that, and why did you start that federation, and how are you making it different from other federations?
Well, I mean, I wanted to start something that was different, something that was unique, and also to give another group of people an opportunity. You have the IFBB, NPC, two amazing organizations. They're one of the same, but there was still a lot of competitors out there who they just can't fulfill. You can't be everything to everyone. So I think there was a gap that was needed to create something a little different, a little more unique, with a different twist. And that's why I started the WBFF, which is World Beauty, Fitness, and Fashion Inc. So it's incorporate. I've always been a lover of fashion. It's always been my thing, and I wanted to infuse fitness, beauty, and fashion all together. I wanted to put it all together to create something that's different, something that's unique. I wanted my stage to be more theatrical looking, not so much of a static look, which worked great for bodybuilding, but for me, wanting to be more entertainment, and that's why people look at my stage, and when I first started, people say if I wanted to go to a rock concert, I'd go to a rock concert. So that's what I brought. That's the element I brought. I liked that look. I love production, and it's like my passion went from bodybuilding over into production. I create my own sets. I program the looks, the lights that I want. And infusing the whole fashion side of things. Fashion is so huge, and the things I like about bodybuilding, the things I didn't like about bodybuilding. I think bodybuilding is in the gym. Once we get out the gym, we don't have to look the same. I wanted when you walk outside, to go out with your girl or your husband, your wife. I want it to look fashionable. I want when you go to one of my shows, you can't tell the difference if it's an Oscar event or a fitness event. So it was I just wanted something unique, something different, and like I said, create opportunity for another group of people. There's so many competitors out there. There's tens of thousands of competitors. It's only so much opportunity one organization can give. So I said, why not create something else that give another group of people an opportunity? It's like going to the grocery store and there's a line with 100 people. There's still another 50 people. Why go in the line with 100 people and make it 150? Why not go in the line that's open over there and get through faster? And in the beginning, there was a lot of blowback from people saying, how could I do that? I'm a sellout. I'm like, how am I a sellout? I'm a businessman. I'm not.
Why do they call sellout in terms of what? What are you saying?
Because I'm an IFBB pro, starting his own organization. I'm turning my back on the IFBB, and I'm like, how can I turn my back on the IFBB? It's because of that why I'm able to do what I'm doing. I still have that's my legacy. We wouldn't be talking today if it wasn't because of the IFBB. So I always explain to people. I said, no, don't get it twisted. I mean, I love Joe Weider. Myself and Jim Mannion, we still talk. I was texting him just today. We still have a great friendship. I have so much respect and admiration for the man, but people don't understand that. He understands. He knows. He'll be the first to tell you, no, Paul's organization is different. He's truly into modeling. He's really into fashion and the pageant stuff. we have no animosity towards each other. We have nothing but, mutual respect for each other. My God, we go so far back, I mean, but people who don't understand, they think it was a competition. It's no competition. IFBB's been around for 60 plus years.
I mean, I'll be honest. I thought, personally, there was some kind of fallout between you and FBB, just from what the rumors I heard. But obviously, you clarified it right now. Now I understand.
And no, again, that's the false narrative that people they spin, they put out, But if people talk to me, they would say, well, no, Paul has nothing against IFBB. He has nothing bad to say. I've never said a bad word. A lot of bad things have been said about me, but I can't say nothing bad about IFBB, NPC. No, my good friend is still the CEO of the pro league. So absolutely not. There's so many things about it that I question. It's like in today's society, there's so much that's going on, and the race card always comes up. People ask me, Paul, if you weren't a person of color, do you think you would have been treated differently? And that part, I would have to say yes. As a man of color, doing what I'm doing, that's the thing that's in the fitness world that was never talked about. Like in my era, it wasn't, blacks didn't really go and grace the covers very often because we didn't sell covers, we didn't get to promote shows. We didn't get, you'd find maybe one or two black judges, everyone else was white, I mean, and for me to own my own organization, it's not supposed to. I'm not supposed to do that, I'm supposed to go on the stage, compete,
Right.
but I'm not allowed. I'm not allowed to start my own, and I'm like, I just went against all that. I mean, it's what's so crazy about it is even people of color was upset with me. Where you would think that they would say, okay, this is the first black man to actually go out there and actually is starting his own organization from scratch with no help from any sponsors, from anyone. So I'm just doing it all by myself, and I have good intentions. As a former competitor, I know what these guys and girls go through. So I want to create a great platform for them, and I don't want to mistreat anyone, don't want to take advantage of anyone. And regardless if I like you as a person or not, when you step up on that stage, I don't see you as that. I just see you as a competitor. And if you're the best person on that day, so be it. And I've always been the person who've always tried to create opportunities for other guys, when I was competing. Chris Cormier will be one of the guys that will tell you, absolutely, Paul was the one who brought me to Joe Weider. Flex Wheeler would say the same thing. The first time I met Joe Weider, Paul Dillett brought me to him. So
did you know Joe Weider well?
Very well. Very well.
I was going to ask you a question because you brought up the race, right? I was going to ask you a question. So I interviewed Robbie Robinson. You know Robbie Robinson?
Oh, very well, yes.
So I interviewed Robbie Robinson, and he told me, in the 70s when he met Joe Weider, he found out that Joe was extremely racist. Then I interviewed Kevin Levrone, and he said it's not true. Joe is not racist. Do you have a opinion on that?
I have nothing but love for Joe. For me, Joe was so good to me. Listen, I was so fortunate when I came to California. Within 3 weeks of being in California, I met Joe. I had a contract. Before I was a pro, so without Joe Weider, I would have never made it in bodybuilding. I don't know what I would have been doing. So I would never, ever say one bad word about Joe. I would always praise him and, respect his memory. And I'm not Robbie Robinson, so I can't speak for him in what happened in the 70s. The Joe Weider that I met, in the 90s is who made Paul Dillett what he became as a bodybuilder, and even he's responsible for what I'm doing today.
Sure. Sure. Now, your coach was Chad Nichols, right?
Chad, oh yeah, Chad was my boy.
So, I want to get your opinion on gurus. There's a lot of talk about gurus, and Chad Nichols is part of the conversation, whether they're good or bad for the sport. Some say, they give the wrong advice, and people say they're actually very helpful. What do you say about that, and what is your advice to the upcoming bodybuilders that, considering getting one, a coach or a guru?
Well, I think you have to pick the coach that's best for you. Don't look at what they've done for someone else. Sit down with the coach, talk with the coach, hear what their mindset is, how they feel about different things, and you choose, and that's how you choose your coach. As far as gurus been around for a long time. We remember, I don't know if you've ever heard of Dan Duchesne.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, he was a guru. He was a drug guru. He messed me up really bad one year.
Really?
Yeah. Oh man, he messed me up so bad one year. And Chris Aceto was my first coach. When I turned pro, it was Chris Aceto who was responsible for it. And
how did he mess you up? He gave you like what, the wrong dosage or something?
Damn right. Like he made me take so much. Really, what it is, he just had me taking something like 6 or 7 Cytomel a day, which is a T3 thyroid medication.
Wow.
And I just kept losing muscle, feeling like shit.
How did he do that? He wasn't aware of what he was doing?
Well, he just thinks, okay, you're this size, blah blah blah. You should be able to take, 6 to 10 Cytomel a day, this much clenbuterol mixed with it, and I got introduced to Chris Aceto, and Chris was like, we're not doing any of that. You're not taking any thyroid medication. You're not taking any clenbuterol. And he brought me up to his house. He was in his condo, and he was living in Maine, and just took me out from doing all that garbage and just straight up dieting. Just straight up dieting. He made all my meals. He took me into the gym. Chris is an amazing trainer, and I don't want to call him a guru. I just think he's a great trainer. He knows what he's talking about. He tries to put logics and facts behind what he has his athletes do. Chad helped me to get in some of the best condition in my life. So Chad is another incredible trainer, and we were friends. I don't know about today if he's still doing this stuff or not, but you do have to be afraid of a lot of people out there who call themselves a guru, who never even competed or did one show, and just to make money, they pump someone full of drugs, don't know the repercussion of it, and you could take someone's life. I'm one of those people who said, oh yeah, it has messed me up on more than one occasion, listening to the wrong people. And I think when you have a coach, it should be sink or swim with that coach. Don't have a coach and then at the same time you're listening to 2-3 other people, because when you make a mistake, you'll never know who had the right answer, who had the wrong answer. I stuck with Chad Nichols for 10 years. I stuck with Charles Glass for 10 years. If someone says right off the bat, who would you recommend? I'd recommend those guys all day long. Charles just he's like the second coming of Christ when it comes to training. This man knows just about every biomechanics about the body, what's going to work for you. And people think that everything you do, you have to go in the gym and lift 500 pounds. No, it doesn't, because there's some muscles, there's just very small twitched muscle, and Charles will come up with exercise that it may be all you're pulling is 100 pounds, but that's all it needs to build that muscle. We're not trying to be power lifters. You're trying to be a bodybuilder. It's about your physique. It's about your aesthetic, right? It's not about having a big, huge gut hanging out there, right?
You had an incident, right, where you collapsed on stage. I forgot where it was, but is that true? Would you ever
It was at the Arnold Classic.
on a classic? And what happened there? Was it dehydration from what I read, or is it something happening where you got a wrong advice?
Well, dehydration, it's having too much calcium and no magnesium, and at the same time listening to just someone who I shouldn't have listened to, So that's an incident where like I said, I can speak from experience, and I won't throw anyone under the bus and call anyone's name, because at the end of the day, I was a grown man, and someone tell you to do something, you don't have to do it. But as a bodybuilder, as an athlete, you want to win by any means necessary. And God damn, I was looking crazy that day. I think that would have been an easy win for me. It was up against Kevin Levrone and Vince Taylor, but it wasn't meant to be. And I came very close to losing my life at that.
That's crazy. Wow, it was that bad?
It was that bad. No one knew. I never talk about it, right? But my heart stopped beating for a minute. For 1 minute, yeah. I was so dry they couldn't even put the IV needle into my veins.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was. I was. My body literally cramped up from my my legs, my feet, my calves, my quads, my stomach, my lower back. So it was going all the way up to the heart, right? I
didn't know it was that serious. Wow. So what happened? How did they recover you?
Well, man, like I said, when I woke up in the hospital, and as I was up, the doctors told me that we had to revive you. You were legally dead for 1 minute.
That's crazy.
Yeah, legally dead for 1 minute. I don't think I was ever the same after that. Did
you see something when you were out? Did you see some kind of?
Yeah, I think I talk about this all the time, where I tell people I had a dog, and her name was Annabelle, and for that while I didn't even know that I was gone. I just know I felt like I was in I was in an open space, and it just all looked blue, and it looked like it's almost like I was standing on glass, and my dog was probably about 30 feet away from me. And I kept calling her name to come to me, but she wouldn't come to me, and I wouldn't go to her, So I never forget this. It's always been in my head. I've told a lot of people about it. I said, the doctor said I was legally dead for 1 minute, and I said, at that time, what I experienced was just, I don't know if it was just like I'm up in the sky, up in the clouds, and it just seemed blue and clear, and all I saw was my dog that had passed away, and I'm calling her to come to me, but she wouldn't come to me, and I wouldn't go to her, and then end up wake back up, and doctors told me what happened. After that, like I said, I just was never the same, when I train, when I get ready for shows, right. It's always in the back of your mind, right? There's always that fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how anybody would even go back to the stage after that, because, think about it, right? What if that happens again? Like, how do you listen to at that point,
Yes. It's like my condition never came back like it, like when I first started, because of that incident. It is scary, Yeah. I never touched diuretic after that, It's just everything else I did was just, drink a lot of water to flush my system, using B12, dandelion, stuff like all natural stuff,
But is there a real way to prevent anything? Because bodybuilding, you agree, right? Is a very extreme sport. It's professional bodybuilding.
Yeah.
It's like car racing, right? So if it is such, then this comes with the territory, right? Anything can happen at any moment. It's almost like, it can just happen, right?
Well, it's like, what happened to me, you see it happen in car racing, right? Come on, you drive a car over 200 miles an hour with 20 other car on this little track. One wrong move, and you may not go home. And we see it happen. Or guys get paralyzed, football, I mean, you have a guy that's, 200 pounds, get hit by a guy that's 300 pounds, and he's paralyzed for life, Sports is is very extreme. And as we're young guys, we feel like, like Superman, like we can't get hurt. We don't think about the repercussion. We just think about, we want to win. We just want to win. We want to win by any means necessary. We never think about, what could happen. We just think about what we want to happen, which is we want to win.
Have you ever used an oxygen tank backstage at the show?
No, I think once there was
Some guys use it because there's not enough oxygen, right? So.
Yeah, and I am asthmatic, so it's like some people said, oh, Dillet's this, Dillet's that, but I'm like, well, I don't breathe in as much oxygen as a normal person, right? I mean, so it was harder for me to breathe than the average guy. So maybe if they did have oxygen tanks, it would have been great for me back then, to get more oxygen into my lungs. So there was some drawbacks, but you don't talk about it because you don't want to make up any excuses, It's kind of like, no, if this guy wins, he wins because he was the best guy on that day. And if I didn't, then so be it. I just got to go back to the gym and work that much harder. It is what it is.
Sure. Tell me about your experience competing against Ronnie Coleman. When I talk to a lot of guys from that era, they say, when you see Ronnie backstage, none of them even thought about winning that day. They were all competing for second and third place. Did you look at it that way? How did it feel to go up against him?
Well, I guess I was competing against Ronnie when Ronnie was taking a back seat to myself back then, and in the era when Ronnie moved up and started dominating, this is after what happened to me in Ohio. I just didn't feel like I had that same drive anymore. But if you look at my physique, you think, if Ronnie progressed as much as he did, imagine if Dillett put 100%, what he might have looked like, right? I mean, so I never think that about any man. I never go backstage and said, oh, I'm thinking I'm going to win regardless of, Ronnie was amazing from way back when, I remember on one of the Grand Prix, I just looked at him and I thought, man, once this guy get into his own, he's going to become a problem, and he did, and he became a problem not to everyone, and everything he got, he deserved. Again, another super nice person, just an all around nice guy, who you're happy for, and now you're sad for some of the things that he's gone through, So we all, it just goes to show, we all pay the price. I paid my price back in 1994. He paid his price at a later time. The sadness that we see with Flex Wheeler, so this sport has done some damage to a lot of us, and I don't think any of us would change anything, though.
No, absolutely. Speaking of Ronnie, so when Ronnie was in his prime, right, it's all about heavy lifting and extremely, all free weights and extremely heavy lifting, right? What did you take, machines versus free weights? Does it make a difference when becoming a bodybuilder?
Everyone has their own opinion on it. I don't think it makes a difference. I think lifting weights is lifting weights. It is what it is. I think the free weights does more harm than good, because you're lifting weights in some positions that the body just wasn't meant to move in, right? Where I think machines have advanced so much now that they can help prevent some of the injuries that Ronnie's had, right? I mean, it's great to have won all the titles, but at the end of it now, you know, would you have given up those titles to be able to, you know, just, you know, not suffer the way you have, like, you know?
I think he probably would. I don't think he would go that route. Me personally, not, you know, after meeting.
That's me. I have to agree with you. Who would want to have that many, all those surgeries, you know, and like, you know, and go around in a wheelchair, you know? It's like, no amount of money is worth that, or no title is worth that. You know, I'd rather not have a title and just rather be an average guy, having a good job and be able to walk around normally, you know?
Sure. So Ronnie won his first title in 1998, right? And you mentioned that was the year you kind of like, you changed your focus a little bit, right? From the incident that you had. Now, did you see him becoming that dominant champion? Did you see that happening? Because I know a lot of guys they weren't taking him seriously before that year.
When he won the Night of Champion, the year he won the night, that was the first thing. It was the night when he won the Night of Champion. I was there, and I was like, God damn, I don't know what Big Ron did, but holy shit, this is some scary shit right here. You know, I mean, you can't not think that was some, like, there was one year, man, when Dorian made that leap also. And I'm going to be honest, when I saw the photos of Dorian leaked about 6 weeks out, he put the fear of God in me. He did. Man, those photos came out, those black and whites was done by the great Chris London. I saw those photos, man, literally I just wanted to lock myself in my room because I was like, holy shit, what did he do? And that's how Ronnie looked, you know, in 1998 when he first won when he won the Night of Champion. Actually, to be honest, he looked even scarier, you know, because Ronnie has a better physique than Dorian.
What was your routine like in your prime? What was your routine like? What was your daily routine like? Did you have one when you were prepping for a competition?
Yeah, when you're prepping, you know, you three days on, 1 day off, you know, you do a split training, morning, noon, and then night, you know, smaller body parts like calves, arms, lower back, stuff like that. You do hamstrings, you do at night, and the bigger body parts you you tend to do in the morning. As the show gets closer, I'd ramp up my cardio. Like I said, it'll be at 6 a.m. cardio. Back in the gym by 11 o'clock training. Another 45 minutes of cardio. Come back around 7 o'clock, 7:30 at night. Train some small body parts, and another 45 minutes of cardio.
Oh, a lot of cardio.
I did a lot of cardio. I was one of the guys who would do 2 hours a day. You know, sometimes even a little more.
Wow.
You know, didn't bother me. A lot of guys say they lose muscle mass when they do cardio. Actually, I didn't lose any muscle mass from doing cardio.
Is Stairmaster or
No, treadmill and bike.
Oh wow, okay.
Treadmill and bike.
So what was your weight like off season and then contest wise?
Oh, I guess in the later years, I'd go up to about 320, 325 and competed around 280 pounds, which I believe for me the best weight competing was right around 265. You know, that, you know, even at that size, people thought I was the biggest thing they've ever seen. You know, it was just the proportion, right? And just the muscle bellies were just so full that it gave an illusion. And then, of course, the small joints, like Flex Wheeler, small joints, such full muscle belly that it gave the illusion that I was actually bigger than I was. You know, it's like I look at someone like Kai Greene and these guys going on stage at, you know, 285, 290 pounds, and I think they're 5'2", right?
I don't know about 5'2", but like 5'8".
I know. I know. I think those guys probably around 5'9", 5'10", something like that. It's just crazy. I mean, that's insane. Wow.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, you were 6'3". I mean, that's a huge frame.
Yeah, it's You know, I was always told as a kid, bodybuilding is an illusion, you know, and I guess I was one of the biggest illusionists, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So in every sport, people always argue who was the top 5 of all time, right? Top 5 bodybuilders of all time, in your opinion. Can you give me the 5 names that you think that are the best bodybuilders of all time?
Man, it's so hard to say that because, you know, I love Serge Nubret, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Serge just, wow, what, you know, what a physique. There's no way I could give top. I couldn't give 5. You know, I could not give 5. Sean Ray, you know, most people would say, what? I'm like, no, Sean was amazing. Man, nobody. The one thing you had to give Sean, every time that man come into a show, he was always on point condition-wise. He was always on point. There was a 1 or 2 shows, maybe he was a tad bit, but he was incredible, you know? I mean, there's, like I said, there's so many guys that I could talk about that for me, I don't have a top 5. I probably have a top 20 or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
You know, because I just admired so many guys. Like I said, Mike Christian, Barry DeMay, you know, Tom Platz. I mean, that's even before I get into the 90s, right? I mean, it's Robbie Robinson. Like I loved Robbie Robinson. You know, so there was something about each one of these guys that you liked, you know?
For sure.
Yeah, so I don't, a lot of guys, they may have a top 5. I don't have a top 5 just because I just think there's too many amazing bodybuilders, too many greats that I wouldn't be doing it any justice, you know, to say which guys do I think is a top 5. I can't leave myself out, you know? I mean, I still have some attributes that no one has yet to match, you know. And I don't know if anyone is gonna ever match it, you know.
Sure. No, I agree with you. How do you feel about Phil Heath and his legacy on the sport? Phil Heath is obviously from the new school. You know, he was dominating for 7 years.
The guy just has an incredible physique, incredible. I tend to like Kai more. You know, I like Kai more.
Physique wise.
Yeah. But all in all, I think both guys were so incredible. I kind of felt like there was at least 1 or 2 that I have no bias towards either guy. I think they're both amazing athletes, but I think there was a couple that Kai had and Kai should have had, you know. I mean, I don't know if other people feel the same way, but I feel there was a couple that Kai definitely should have had it. He didn't get it. He's an incredible performer. He's an incredible entertainer. You know, we met each other in Brazil, I think 2 years ago, and just seemed like a very nice person. You know, I've never met Phil. I think he has his arms are just sick. You know, but I think his legacy, he'll go down as one of the greatest of all time. You know, and he should be proud of what he's accomplished. You know, I'm jealous of him. Hell, I wish I just had one of those titles. You know?
I hear you, man. Do you see any new guys today that you feel like show a promising future in bodybuilding? Some of the new guys that are just IBB Pro or whatever, who are just getting out there.
You know, I don't see anything because I don't look at anything. You know, I really don't look at bodybuilding anymore. I've lost interest completely. You know, so I don't know who the new guys are, and no disrespect to them in any way, shape, or form. It's just not my focus anymore. You know, my focus is I have two business. You know, I build homes here in Canada also, and the whole fitness and fashion thing, that's more my hobby. You know, that's something that I do because I do it because I love it. I want it. You know, I build homes for a living, and I do these events because it's to keep me involved in something that I truly love, something that's a part of my legacy. You know, but I don't look at anything to do with bodybuilding. I don't see anything at all. You know, it's like Chris Cormier will send me stuff and share stuff with me for me to look at. And there's a lot of guys now I see who are constantly posting old videos of Paul Dillett, stuff that I've never even seen, photos I've never seen.
Incredible. Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah. There's a lot of great videos of it.
Yeah, I'm just seeing so much of it, and I'm honored. I'm honored, and that a lot of these young guys even know who an old guy like me is, right? You know, it's good to see, and it's, you know, but I'm not in the bodybuilding scene at all.
Lastly, I want to ask you, so I know you're not into bodybuilding anymore, but what advice would you give to an aspiring bodybuilder who watched your videos, your photos, and just, you know, and guys like Ronnie Coleman and everybody else, you know, that want to become successful in bodybuilding? What advice would you give to those guys?
I'd say stay focused. Don't just think about training. You know, there's you have to make sure that there's two sides to it. It have to be you, the athlete, but it also have to be you, the businessman, the entrepreneur. Keep in mind that no one's going to come knocking your door, so you're going to have to go knocking on those doors. You know, use the platform you have to build some kind of a fame for yourself, which you can then take that fame and transform it into cash. You know, don't wait for someone to pay you. You know, I always tell people, I don't want you to write me a check. I'll write you the check. That means if I'm writing the check, I'm the boss. You know, and I'm fortunate that I'm in a position where in both my business, I'm the boss. You know, so for any young cats coming up, I would just say, you know what, training is extremely important. You know, your focus on your game is important, but what should be equally as important is the business side of things. Think about what you're going to do once this ends, because this will end. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it ends sooner than you anticipate, you know. But remember, you don't have to be a Mr. Olympia or even win one title to be successful off stage. So that would be my advice to them, is just to think about what they want to do with this, you know, and if they do win a title, what they're going to do with that title.
Absolutely. Paul, I want to say thank you so much for your time. I was looking forward to this interview for a long time, man. And I want to, you know, definitely say thank you again. And I wish you all the best in your business.
Oh, no, listen, thank you guys. You know, you guys are doing some really, really good things with you know, all of the movies that you guys have made and promoting so many young guys and guys who probably would never have an opportunity to build a name. You guys are build them into stars, you know. So I think you guys are doing an incredible job. I admire what you guys are doing, and it's great to see that you guys taking that opportunity to do that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Paul. It means a lot to me, and I hope we can do this again in the near future, man.
Yeah, most definitely. And you know, people can always reach me on my social media. I don't always work them. There's people who do work them, but they occasionally I will take a look and see what's going on. You know, there's my Instagram page, my Paul Dillett fan page. And I could find out more about my organization at WBFFshows.com. We're big on social media, so, you know,